has a theory as to why Michael Savage was banned in Britain. He compares Michael Savage and the problems I am having with the dictatorship of England with the Dreyfus affair. Many of you don't know what the Dreyfus affair was, and I don't say you should. It's not something I would think you should carry around with you, but it's important that you read about it and see where we are today with regard to the situation in the United States of America. So we have 3 articles to talk about. Obama selling out America's nuclear defenses in Moscow. Obama's approval index drops to an all-time low. And Michael Savage compared to the Dreyfus affair. This is the Savage Nation.
Is your inheritance stuck in probate? Inheritance Funding Company can advance you the cash you need in as little as 72 hours. Go to inheritancefunding.com or call 877-YOU-AIR. That's 877-YOU-HEIR.
On the air, online, and on the go. This is Talk 910 KNEW.
We recently talked about Obama's agreement with Russia to reduce our nuclear arsenal. No doubt this is a terrible idea at this time. Diplomacy through weakness never works. Joining us now is Niall Gardner, whose recent article on the Telegraph website asks the basic question, is Obama the most naive president in U.S. history? Hello?
It is hard to fathom what the United States will gain from Barack Obama's much-hyped agreement with Dmitry Medvedev to further cut America's nuclear arsenal. Washington and Moscow have agreed in principle a framework to reduce their nukes by about a third, to 1,500 to 1,675 warheads over the next 7 years. Even more significantly, the 2 leaders have pledged to cut their nuclear delivery systems, intercontinental ballistic missiles and long-range bombers, for example, to just 500 to 1,100 units, a move that works greatly to Russia's advantage as its force projection is far weaker than the United States in this area. The New Deal, which Obama hopes to wrap up with the Kremlin by December, creates a far more level playing field for the Russians, whose strategic conventional weapons capability is greatly outclassed by that of the Americans, and whose deteriorating nuclear weapons stockpile is aging and in decline.
This doesn't make any sense at all. We're weakening ourselves at a time where our enemies are getting stronger.
The whole agreement makes no sense, and is little more than a vanity exercise for Barack Obama, who has ludicrously pledged to carve out a nuclear-free world. Surely a better strategy would be to further build up America's defenses, including a global missile defense shield, rather than cut defense spending and further gut the superpower's nuclear capability. At this rate, even Jimmy Carter looks like General Patton compared to the dove-like current U.S. president.
Crazy.
Why cut nuclear weapons at a time when rogue regimes such as North Korea and Iran are busy building their own programs? Does the president seriously believe this move will encourage the likes of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad or Kim Jong-il to renounce their nuclear designs? What evidence is there in history that a unilateral policy of disarmament will prompt tyrannical regimes to change their behavior? It is also unclear what kind of odious quid pro quo deal Washington will have to sign up to in order to move the agreement forward. President Medvedev, who serves as little more than Vladimir Putin's right hand, has made it abundantly clear that the United States will have to sacrifice any plans for a third-site missile defense system in Eastern and Central Europe for Moscow to sign up to a new arms treaty. This would be a huge betrayal of key U.S. allies Poland and the Czech Republic. No doubt Moscow will also demand the Obama administration give the Russians a bigger say over NATO expansion eastwards, including blocking the entry of Georgia and Ukraine. By agreeing to a grand bargain with the Medvedev-Putin regime, President Obama has unwisely opened a Pandora's box of concessions that will only enhance Russia's hand in its near abroad. At the same time, the Obama administration's naive approach will strengthen the resolve of America's enemies, such as Iran, to aggressively pursue their nuclear ambitions and exploit the weakness of a president who is gravely undercutting American global power in an increasingly dangerous world.
Thanks for the report, Niall Gardner. This plan is unbelievable. The world is becoming more and more dangerous. With Iran and Korea and the like getting nukes, we may be only diminishing our ability to defend ourselves. I pray someone stops Obama before we are defenseless.
Savage. With Savage, you never know what to expect, and that's why you listen to his show every day.
The Savage Nation. Talk 910 KNEW.
Our commitments, so we must ensure that other nations keep theirs. To that end, we had constructive discussions about North Korea and Iran. North Korea has abandoned its own commitments and violated international law, and that's why I'm pleased that Russia joined us in passing a UN Security Council resolution that calls for strong steps to block North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler, and here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. We, the German Führer and Chancellor, and the British Prime Minister have had a thorough meeting today and are agreed in recognizing that the question of Anglo-German relations is of the first importance for the two countries and for Europe. We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
Those who do not know their history are condemned to repeat it. Which class are you in? Those who know their history or those who do not know their history? I am trying to instruct America before it is too late. I am playing a soundbite from our naive, Fabian socialist president, and I'm giving him, by the way, the most positive view. I don't accept that he's a traitor. I don't accept that he's a sellout. I don't go for that he's a stealthist. I believe I'm going to give him the credit for the fact that he's a naive man from a university background. The skids have been greased for him his entire life. The man has never truly worked for anything in his life. Everything was handed to him. And here is a man who flies off on a regular basis, giving away America's dignity and now giving away America's nuclear superiority to Russia at a time that North Korea is launching weapons, at a time when Iran wants a nuclear weapon, at a time when nukes could be going loose in Pakistan. So I play for you Obama saying he just came back and signed a joint understanding to cut delivery systems with Mr. Putin. We want peace. Then I play for you Neville Chamberlain back in the 1930s, 39, I believe, coming back with a similar statement saying Herr Hitler and he have come to an agreement that we'll never go to war again. Hitler then used the weakness of Chamberlain to go and invade the next nation in the list. Do you have any idea what I am telling you? When in the world are you going to wake up to what is going on right in front of your eyes? On to other topics. When was the last time you heard President Obama mention terrorism? What was considered the hot topic during the elections by the media has now not been spoken about since the election. Instead, it's been Michael Jackson's glove. Joining us now to talk about this is James Carafano.
Michael, thank you for having me, and thanks for bringing attention to this issue.
James, your last piece on Heritage lists 23 terror plots foiled since 9/11. How did you come up with this exact number?
All we did is read newspapers, right? Well, all we did was list every single terrorist attack where somebody was trying to come to the United States or in the United States, try to kill Americans, where, you know, somebody was arrested and brought to court. Now, and this doesn't include, you know, the stuff we don't talk about, the stuff that the CIA stopped and all that kind of stuff. This is just the stuff that's in the public record. We actually did this report in 2007. It was 19. We're up to 23. And if there's a message here is, dude, they're still trying to kill us. You know, we have to take this stuff seriously. That's the bottom line message of the report. And the other thing is you can't pick your danger du jour. And if there's one thing you see when you read these 23 terrorist attacks, the only thing you learn is they don't have anything in common. Some of them were, you know, people that went overseas, got radicalized and came back. Some got radicalized in prison. You know, some just became yahoos on the internet. Some people were terrorists trying to come here. Some of these plots are pretty serious. some of them were pretty scatterbrained. So, but the point is that there is no pattern. You can't just, let's, persecute one kind of person or go after this thing or, go hang out in mosques or something. You have to be vigilant all the time because you never know how the enemy's going to come at you. And, a lot of these, you look at these attacks and you say, okay, well, that might not have worked. But you know what? If you look in our history, some of the most devastating attacks have been by just idiots, who were more lucky than good. I mean, John Wilkes Booth, he's an idiot to think that might work, and it did. The guy that did the Murrah office bombing, that shouldn't have worked, and it did. Even the 9/11 hijackers, they weren't Einsteins, and look what they accomplished. So you have to take all this stuff seriously. And I guess I walk away after reading this report saying, are we doing all the things we're supposed to be doing to protect the country, make sure that, we're not violating people's civil liberties, we're not becoming a police state, we're doing things that are smart, we're not bankrupting the country by doing stupid security, are we doing all those things? And some of these things you just got to scratch your head with the administration that's going on here. You still, for example, we see the Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security squabbling over, who's in charge of coordinating with the state and local government. That makes no sense. We just had a guy that was up for the chief intelligence job in the Department of Homeland Security